Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Yeah, so the holidays pretty much here, a couple of weeks away, and or even less than that. I mean, we started with Thanksgiving, so that kind of kicked it off. Stressful time for a lot of us, a lot of anxiety. Life in general can be stressful. Then you add the holidays, then you're worrying about presents, wrapping, planning, preparing, guests coming over, got to deal with the family and all of that. And it just escalates the amount of stress in your life. So let's manage that, your holiday stress. We're going to dig into that today with an amazing life coach. Allison Cowan is with us, and she's with Purposeful Pathway Life Coaching.com. Welcome back, Allison. How you doing?
I am doing well, thank you.
Yeah,
Managing my holiday stress.
good for you. I'm trying not to think about it, but on the back end of my brain, I think, okay, you don't worry about it, you don't think about it, and then a few days before Christmas, it's going to be like, wow, like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
gonna surface. Yeah, but it shouldn't be that way, but it is life in general that we get anxiety, we get stressed out, we worry about stuff, and then once the holidays are gone, then you have New Year's, then you have for some of us, the stress of the resolution, starting a new year.
yeah. And then there's the letdown of all of that,
Mm,
build up and build up and build up. And then, it's why January, February, people are just like,
yeah. Yep.
almost like, not necessarily clinical depression, but feel more depressed and down. And um,
And seasonal, then seasonal depression you mix
yeah,
in there.
then yeah, there's seasonal things. How dark it is, I guess it depends on where you are. But yeah, I think the main thing is expectations.
Hmm.
And different people have different expectations about everything about holidays.
Yeah.
And being able to have expectations that are reasonable and are not over, so that you're not overwhelmed. And it may mean changing things that you've done differently in the past. But the expectations of gift giving, finance and budget, how much time you're willing to spend with family, friends. Are you a person who is capable of declining an offer?
Mm.
Um, so, it's like, okay, here's another gathering, another party. Um, you're able to say no because you've reached your limit. So having some boundaries and
Yeah. I think the expectations is a big one because we have our expectations. That's pretty easy, for
mhm.
the most part. But then when you worry about somebody else's expectations, that presents stress because you want to make, for the most of us, everybody happy. What are your kids expecting of the holidays? What is everybody else expecting? I have a friend who has two daughters, and I was just talking to her the other day, and her concern now is making sure they're equal. They're a couple of years apart, but making sure they're equal in the gift value area. And what it's kind of looking this way at the moment. And she's like, yeah, like, are they really going to be looking at a lot of times kids don't even look at the value. It's the number of boxes that come their
Well,
way.
and as they get older, I just remember myself like kind of thinking the same thing.
Mm,
As they get older, the gifts that they want are more expensive, so there are fewer boxes. Um,
yes.
they may want
Yes.
an electronic device rather than, you know, little toys and things
Hmm.
that are less expensive. And you can, get a lot of those, and then it's equivalent to one electronic device.
Exactly. But again, Stress. There's more stress. I will share this with you. I spoke to a substance abuse counselor the other day,
Mhm.
and he said, and just they take this for what it is in terms of therapy, but he
Mhm.
said 90% of the stress and anxiety that people deal with comes down to one thing. And I said, what's that? He says, people do not drink enough water. He goes, you would be amazed. People are not realizing how dehydrated they are, and it's causing them to stress out, not manage life in general, foggy, can't focus, can't sleep. I know for a fact there's been times where I realized that I didn't drink enough water in the day. I'm laying in bed, my heart is going, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I just want to
Mhm.
sleep. Let me just go to sleep. I'm like, maybe I need to drink something. And I did, and I went right to sleep. So I think there's something there that we need to be mindful of that. And then that said, that you should be drinking half your body weight in ounces. That's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot when you really look at how much water.
Yeah.
Um, but there's also like having spoken to him, there's a lot of overindulgence during the
Hmm.
holidays,
Yep.
overeating, over drinking, over spending,
Yeah.
um, and you know, so managing your health during this time
Yeah.
can be very difficult as well.
Do you
Um,
do this? Because I find myself, I was doing this recently. I kind of derailed on the health side. I'm going to get back to it. I know where I'm at, but I find in the last couple of weeks or so, just reckless abandon. Just like, I mean, after the first, I'll dig back into it. But to your point, Allison, if you're doing that, you're just putting stress on yourself because your body's reacting to the stuff that you're putting in it that you don't normally consume, be it alcohol, be it, sweets and things like that. And we don't realize that, it causes issues. Inflammation is a big word now. And it
yeah,
doesn't mean like, just bloating inflammation. There's other things going on in your body and that affects your brain. And then that brings on stress and anxiety.
it definitely does. And um, I personally, so my story, I have lost 145 pounds.
Wow. Good for you. Wow.
And it was because I was diagnosed with diabetes and I did not want to take medication.
Mm,
And so I did seek a dietitian that I worked with every week. And I have kept it off. It will be 2 years.
wow.
And
Congrats.
I now notice that if it's like, oh, let's have a cheat day and I'll have something that I'm not used to eating. So especially if it's like fried or greasy, or, you know, there are certain things that I can have, but I will feel sick. My
Mm,
body can't do it anymore. And so I, it's gotten easier for me to just like, okay, well, I can have a nibble or a bite of something and and savor it. So savor that little piece
yep.
and, you know, and be very mindful during that savoring so that I don't need 20 of something.
Hmm.
Just that one is enough.
Yep. Totally get it. I totally understand. And I haven't had salt from a shaker, sodium, in literally decades. And I'll
Mhm.
go to dinner with somebody and they're like, and I can't do it because I wean myself off of it and I don't need it anymore. It's tough in the beginning, obviously, no matter what it is. But even to your point, I have a friend that lost exactly the same amount of weight you did, and same thing. And I find myself and lots of others, and maybe you would agree that once you start, it's almost like you can't stop. Like,
Right.
and that's what I've been finding. I was a big kid, so it's always on my radar. Psychologically, it made an impression on me. But I find, like when I said, reckless abandon recently, I find that, somebody brings over chocolate cake, have a piece, come back, have another piece, come back, have another.
Oh
Once
yeah,
you
and that's
start,
like that one little wedge. Oh, that's just one more little wedge.
yeah, yeah, just slice
And
a
that
little,
doesn't
a
that
little bit
doesn't
more, a little
count.
more. Where did the
That
where
little
did the
wedge
cake
doesn't
go?
count. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It's work, but I believe everything is habitual. The good stuff, the bad stuff. Once you get in the habit, the rhythm of doing it, you can do it. The good and the bad. you know?
Yeah, yeah. And it is easy to, especially, oh, I'll just start tomorrow. And
Yeah.
then, so I might as well just like eat everything in the house today because I'll start tomorrow.
Yeah.
And tomorrow comes and you have, you know, you want to do this, you have your goal in mind. And, um, for me, I found, well, what were my trigger foods
Mm.
that I couldn't stop? Um, put a big bowl of broccoli and cauliflower in front of you, and you're only going to eat so much of it. You put a pizza out there or that cake, like you said, that trigger.
Hmm.
So, um, just
Yeah. And why do it's an interesting that we pivoted over to diet and
well,
food.
so,
But
yeah, because it was like yeah, because we were talking about the overindulgence during the
yeah,
holiday.
but it leads to stress, and even the stress of managing that, not trying to do that, and then the guilt that comes with that, and you don't realize what you're putting onto yourself in that guilt from doing that. But yeah, like you said, and the holidays are here. What do the holidays remind you of? When you were younger, when you were a kid. Then out comes the comfort food, and then just like you said, Allison, you know what? I'll start tomorrow. It's all good. It's the holidays. I deserve it. Yeah, maybe you do.
Yeah, and then 10 pounds comes on, and you're like, what happened?
Yeah, and guess what comes up? More stress, because it's like now you have the stress of losing whatever you gained. Um,
And then it's like you had talked about, um, you know, resolutions. That I think is a holiday stressor.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
Um, I've not really, I don't know the statistics, but I don't know that many people really follow through with, they set these resolutions. Gym memberships,
Mm.
first of the year,
Oh
gym
yeah.
memberships go way, way up.
Oh, for sure.
And, you know, but do people stick to it?
And the gyms love it because once they have your credit card number, they're just
Mhm.
hitting your card every month, and you're not going to cancel because you're going to say, you know what? I'll get back there. I'll get back. What, another month? Okay. Yeah, just hit me up with that one more time, and we'll be good. We actually have instant feedback from Christine, Ann Arbor, Michigan. She checks in at instantfeedbacksteve@gmail.com. She says, love your talk today. I have a lot of weight to lose in my journey. Can you please share what diet you were on?
Sure. I went to a weight loss clinic. I had actually been considering getting bariatric surgery. And I went to a place called, um, well, in any case, it's here in Ohio, but they use OptiFast products
Hmm.
at the beginning along with food. So, you know, what whoever, and these places are independently owned. So whatever is in your area, and if they use OptiFast, then um, that's what I would look what I
Wow.
would look up.
Oh, thanks for sharing. It's funny when you say that name. I believe it's the same one, but it's been around a long time.
It has been around a long time.
Yeah, I didn't even know they still existed. So that says a lot right there.
Yeah, and they're very balanced with nutrients and protein, and those first couple weeks are tough.
Mm.
And then it just gets easier and easier.
Yeah.
The place I went, Weight Loss Management Partners.
Okay. For
And they're in Beechwood, Ohio. And, if somebody would like, I can give you their phone number and maybe be able to refer you to somebody in Ann Arbor.
Awesome. Yeah. And like you said, there's all different clinics, facilities around, but the common theme here is OptiFast products. So that worked for you. And I'm
It
sure it
worked
works
for
for me.
me. And then it also, you know, eventually it was just the foods and um, choosing your foods and what you eat and all of that. So it can be done without products.
Hmm.
And um, if it was Christine, if Christine would like to contact me, um, she can call me 216-339-9959, and I can share more with her. I have a whole worksheet about your relationship with food and all of that. So if she's interested, please, Christine, give me a call.
Fantastic. Yeah. It's we're here to alleviate your stress, no matter what, whatever the
Yeah,
stress
I
is.
guess things shift around as they do, and that's
Yeah.
okay. We tend to do that, and we
Hmm.
roll with what happens.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's again, eating can be stressful. Even if it wasn't the holidays, if you're trying to make healthier choices and you find yourself pivoting in another direction, the guilt that comes from that can bring on stress. So it's everything's all connected here. Any other thoughts, Allison, to cut back on some of the stress of the holidays?
Well, I think that couples, partners, really communicating and trying to be on the same page. So one person may love the holidays and the other person may just, it may be too much. Um, how much money to spend. Let's decide on a budget together. How many people are we purchasing gifts for? Because it gets out of hand, and then there's that stress. Um, Deciding together how much time you can spend with family and friends. So, you know, ahead of time, we can handle, one person may be able to handle being together for 4 hours. Another person can maybe feels like they can handle just being with friends and family 1 hour,
Hmm.
and maybe a compromising with two.
Yep.
So I think that's something that can alleviate some stress. So talking about it ahead of time so that it's there's not this stress building up in one person more
Mm.
than the other, and then disagreements you know come up. And so I think that that's another healthy way of alleviating some stress.
That's a big one. It really is because on one side you could have one half of the partnership, if you will, saying, what do you mean you don't want to come hang out with my family? Come on, blah, blah, blah. And then the other says, I do, but I don't want to that long. And you got to strike that blend. And it's also the anticipation of what that one is expecting and that one is expecting, adding to the stress. So, yes, there has to be communication and some kind of balance, blend of that because sometimes one asks for a lot and the other one's like, yeah, I'm on board, but I want to do it all. I'll go, but I want to go home and watch the game or whatever it is, whatever you want
Right,
to do.
right, 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 right.
It's not like I'm not going, but I'm showing up and it's, with a smile on my face, and we'll do it, but not for 5 hours or 7 or 8 or whatever it
Right,
is.
right. And so different people have different thresholds,
Yeah.
and having that compromise.
Hmm. But it's also not ignoring the elephant in the room because if holidays are coming up. I know I'm going to have to go to her family's house again. I'm not looking forward, that kind of thing.
And it could be, if you're the person who enjoys spending 5 hours and the other person can only handle an hour, then drive separately.
Yeah. Hmm.
The other person allowance to
Yeah.
spend 5 hours with their family and be perfectly, it's like, okay, you know, I'm okay if you leave. I'm not angry.
Yeah.
And so you're both allowing each other to be who they are. So there's other ways of dealing with it as well.
I know I know couples that take separate cars, one in particular because one of them deals with some anxiety. And sometimes it just pops up out of nowhere. And it's just like, I gotta go. I gotta go. Most times it's fine, but just the thought of having the out, it makes it comforting. It's not the best situation taking separate cars, but it is what it is. But whatever works for you. And as long as the other person in the relationship sees that and says, all right, yeah, follow me, all good. And yeah,
And there's really no right or wrong. It's what works for the couple.
yeah. But you got to communicate. And I really, really think, Allison, you nailed it with one word, expectations, because I didn't realize it, but that word is the thread through all of it. When it comes to the gifts, your family, your kids, time, here, that, everywhere, yourself, what's your expectation of the holidays? Everybody's
Mm-hmm.
got different ones. Everybody has a different view. We all come from different areas, different backgrounds, and what I'm thinking is not the same thing that you're thinking. So everybody's got to
I
be,
know people who have and love, and they will have even the smallest of houses. They will have if they're celebrating Christmas, for example, and I'm talking about, there's all holidays going on right now, so I don't want to exclude and
hmm.
just make it one, but they'll have a tree in every single room of their house, and they love it.
They love Christmas or a holiday, whatever it
And
is.
that's great.
Hmm.
If they enjoy that, so be it.
Yeah.
Um,
Can't take that away, but that's their expectation. But they can't expect other people to be on board to share the same type of joy that they have.
yeah, and so if I'm kind of turned into a minimalist. My children are out of town. So all of the decorating to me now feels more like, well, it's not like putting it up, it's taking it down.
For sure.
So as long as if you're the one who loves it and
Yeah. Then
you know,
do it.
you're taking it down, putting it up and taking it down, not complaining, then go for it.
Yeah. This is
Um,
this is the first year in forever that since I moved, sold a house in between. Um, I'm not on a ladder this year. I'm not complaining. It's okay. It's all right, because there'll be time for that. I know in the future at some point. So we have a little bit of time left. This is the perfect time to talk about if somebody is going through stuff, stress, dealing with things during the holidays. Purposeful Pathways lifecoaching.com is your website. Um, Free consult. I don't know if you're working close to the holidays, but if somebody is realize I got stuff going on, I need some direction here.
and through January 1st, I usually work with packages. So it's like, rather than session like one session here, one session there, I do offer different packages. And any package that is purchased through January 1st are 2 free sessions are added on as
Awesome. Ah, very nice.
promotion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got it when you need it the most. And you don't have to use it before the holidays. Right?
Well,
Yeah.
no, because no. And if anybody knows that they would like something, they want, somebody who would really like coaching. I have gift certificates.
Yeah. Or even just to make that suggestion to somebody, hey, I was listening to this thing or watching. I heard this life coach, Allison, and she's resonating. And why don't you give her a call? And if you like it, then I'll that's my gift to you, whatever it might be. But the website is Purposeful Pathways, lifecoaching.com. Minimize that stress during the holidays. Manage the expectations. Have a little bit of chocolate cake, just a little.
Yeah, savor it.
Yeah.
And just again, the phone number is 216-339-9959. And my email is Allison, Allison, Cowan, Cowan, at purposefulpathwayslifecoaching.com. And I'm only stressing that because I'm right now in the middle of changing my website hosting.
Gotcha.
So I don't want somebody to get lost if it's, if it takes a day or two
Yep.
to transfer over.
Gotcha.
So
yeah.
That's why especially the phone number, please feel free, call, text.
Excellent. Yeah. 216-339-9959. Allison, always great talking with you.
Oh, it's always just so fun being here with you, Steve. And our expectations are...
It's key. And there you go. All right. We'll talk soon. Okay.
Yeah. Sounds great.
Thank you very much. Okay. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.